WTF Nation Radio
is in the house.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
It's 3 a.m. and the sirens are going off. Another rocket attack. I've got my boots and got my ammo in my 50-pound sack. A 100 boys headed to war in this world unknown. The only peace of mind I've got are these letters from home. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here. Out here in Kandahar. Well, most of us, we made it home, but we never came back. When we close our eyes at night, we hear a rocket attack. I've tried to talk and tell you about it, but it ain't the same. All these thoughts that run through my head, well, they can't be tamed. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here. Out here in Kandahar. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here. We ain't far from Kandahar.
Dynamics of the group work,
and then you're going to come down to the stables and you'll start working with the horses, and it's nothing mandatory. Like our first session, we got out here and we just started grooming a horse. Patrick showed us how to groom a horse, and it was just fun. And as we're grooming a horse, we're telling our story.
You get to see somebody.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Do you ever have one of those moments where you think, how the hell did I get here? Jeez, what happened to me? I was ruling the galaxy, had a cherry new battle station. I mean, this place had an omelet bar, a straight-up omelet bar. And now look, my former interns tossing me down a bottomless freaking pit. You know, come to think of it, my whole life has been a series of what the moments. That was my out.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Let's roll.
From the functional winter of 2020, in the year of our COVID dumpster fire, this is the Monday edition. U.S. Army WTF Moments, WTF Nation Radio. Yeah. I got it going. Flash, how you been, man?
I had somebody hit me up asking that. He's like, oh, on the real.
Oh man.
I was like, bro. I couldn't even write that in a broken Spanish English writing style. Like I don't even know how that's possible.
How you been, man?
God bless him. I mean, good. Well, I wouldn't say good, but after the debates last week, I am deeply concerned with everything. But on the good news, I've literally had maybe 5 or 6 people who have, in political conversations, which is weird because I try not to have political conversations because I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings with facts and shit on both sides. But more people are going third party. I'm like, hell yeah. Like one person's like, I don't know what you think about Joe Jorgen's. Like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I said, her and her VP, already got my vote.
I'll be honest with you.
That's just me, Flash. Not.
I know. We're
sorry, WTF moments.
Right. I understand that, but I will say this: we're going to talk about that anyway. We're going to talk about the debates, and then we're going to talk about the debates. Yeah, bro. I'm going to tell you what right now. Debates. I thought were going to be. I was ready for some good zingers. I was ready for some good of excellences, of some good. Yes, here we go. We're going to start seeing some stuff. We're going to see some verbal back and forth. But it ended up being 3 people speaking at the same time about 3 different things and saying, no, you didn't. Yes, I did. No, he did. Whatever. And just kept going back and forth. At that point, I was literally going, Chris Wallace has lost fucking control of the debate. And I mean, it just really, it got to the point to where literally it was like 2 kids arguing. 2 kids. I felt
both bad for Chris Wallace and thought he was the biggest pansy.
Well,
if he would have stood up halfway through and said, "If y'all don't shut up, we're done. I don't even care. I'll walk off, and you guys can just argue with each other. I don't care." I would have been like, "Hell yeah, give that man more money, Fox News, because that's someone with a backbone." But no, he stood there like, and he didn't get in some I guess we'll have to just, I guess we're just gonna have to jump into it.
Just jump into it, man. I don't care.
We're gonna just jump into it. Chris Wallace lost control from 30 seconds in, and he's lost control.
Hey, real quick. This real quick. This real quick. This podcast has nothing to do, or nothing is being officially endorsed by our next guest, who is Colonel Joe Buccino, Public Affairs Officer for 18th Airborne Corps. So anything that happens before that, Joe does not have anything to do with and everything. So once he shows up, the discussion is going to be purely about the 18th Airborne Corps Dragon Innovation Program. So it's going to be, it's just right now, this is our topic right now. So I don't want anybody to come after Joe or come after 18th Airborne Corps on Twitter and start chasing down, oh, PAO's movement. He has nothing to do with this. This conversation is just us. And so
this first hour is ours.
This first hour of hours of excellence. So
I got my tequila, so let's talk.
Magnificence. I got a freaking whiskey sour. I try to make up a whiskey sour, see how that works out. But anyways, continue. I didn't mean to. I just had to throw that out there right quick.
No, I mean that's good because we definitely don't want. I'm very excited about our guest. I'm not excited about any more debates coming up. I mean, let's just dive into it. We. Last Tuesday, we had our first presidential debate. We're, going against what Nancy Pelosi said that Joe Biden shouldn't debate Donald Trump because we're not going to learn anything different.
Right.
I mean, we learned some things. Both of them are just not holding back. There's no civility. There is no presidential being. I mean, we have a current president and former vice president acting like, if anything, junior senators who just got there and don't know how to act. But it was crazy. We had President Donald Trump and Joe Biden fiercely clashing in one of the most chaotic and bitter presidential debates I've ever seen. And I've been watching since, I think the first one I ever watched was McCain and Obama. I think that's when I really started paying attention to what was going on, because I was younger then. And then I watched, Romney and Obama, and then I watched the debacle that was, Hillary and Trump. But this was even worse. I mean, Donald Trump, the president frequently interrupted Joe Biden so much that he told him to shut up. They fought over everything.
See, that's the thing too, right? That's another thing. Would you, I thought, would you let me finish? How about you let me speak? Once he called the president a clown, and then kept calling him clown, and I was like, dude, it would behoove you, Spanky. Where you at? Hang on, let me see where the call for Spanky. Let me see. Hang on, let me see. Behoove. I'm waiting for Spanky to show up. And hang on. Behoove.
I can't stand y'all. Monday.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. That was just a test. That was just a test. Behoove.
Yes, I'm here. Carry on.
But my whole point was that once they started going back and forth and really it's like, you clown and all, dude, that's it. That just like, it kind of, say I was a voter for, I'm not saying I am, and I was a voter for former Vice President Joe Biden, I would have been like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you saying this? Why are you even, all this, we're supposed to be better than that crap and all this other stuff? I would have been like, dude, are you freaking, what the hell?
But I don't feel bad for, I'm not hating on Biden for that though, because if he would have just been the bigger man, he would not have gotten a word edgewise. That's what Donald Trump does. That's what he did during the debates against Clinton.
No.
He dominated the conversation. He always, he would speak up and undercut everyone's statement because that's what he did. And he'd also talk over people, and that's what he did. Granted, yes, saying, would you shut up? I was like, oh.
Yeah, would you shut up?
Kitty's got claws.
Yeah, not only that, but like I said, the debate going back and forth and arguing back and forth. You look at other debates between the Democratic nominees. They were the same way. They were yapping back and forth on. So I could give a couple of yapping back and forths and going over extra time. But this was just, oh my, I was like, was there everything to the point to where I literally wanted to see, dude, I wanted to see freaking, it looked like Joe was about ready to lose his shit. Joe.
Yeah, well,
there was a couple of times where he rage. You ever see he was rage focusing because immediately he would focus on one camera and totally ignore what President Trump was saying and would just
would hold on. He would hold on to like, oh my god, if I let go, I'm gonna
yeah, exactly. I was like, oh snap, I'm about ready to see some blows here. You see some hands being thrown.
BBC, there's opinion polls suggest Joe Biden has a steady, only a single-digit lead over Donald Trump. Now, I saw something that said that he had 15 points as of today, but we're not too far from the election. Also, polls suggested that 1 in 10 Americans have yet to make up their minds on how they're going to vote. But analysis said Tuesday night that that debate, the first of three, probably would not make much of a difference. So here are some of the key moments. overall, the 90-minute debate in Ohio was light on serious policy discussion. Honestly, between all the bickering and the arguing and stuff, there was barely any like substantial policy being talked about. Both candidates talked over each other. Donald Trump, the president, cut in some 73 times, according to a count by CBS News. The tenor became clear early as the two candidates sparred over healthcare. Hectoring from Donald Trump saw the challenger call the president a clown, and then as they moved on to the Supreme Court, it continued with Biden refusing to answer when asked if he would try to expand the number of judges, which is something the Democrats are like pulling back from saying because they know that's going to be a hot button issue. That we've lost. There's not more liberal judges on the bench. We're going to change the rules like we talked about last week and expand it. So he wouldn't answer that. But will you shut up, man? It was funny why, and then he kept saying, keep yapping, man. Why does he keep saying man? Like, it reminds me of that Steve Buscemi meme where it says, "What's up, fellow kids?"
Yeah, good day. Yeah, hello there, fellow kids. Yeah, what up there, fellow kids? Yeah, I don't know. He was trying to. Again, and this is 100%. There is nothing right now that Joe Biden, to me, has had almost a half a fucking century of service in the government and nothing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm getting tired of that. This is what I need to happen. And I'll be honest.
50 years.
Yeah. And I'll be honest.
50 years between being a senator and the vice president.
Right. Well, not to mention the fact that I'm gonna say it, man. Just I don't think he could have. I think that argument right there, him getting all flustered and stuff like that. I mean, you remember when Hugo Chavez was being disrespectful to President Obama at the in the conference in South America, in the Central America, and Obama was just chill. He was just like, but Hugo Chavez was sitting there talking shit in Spanish and going off on him, and he was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. And do you think Joe Biden will be able to handle a confrontation like that?
I mean, I honestly, Joe Biden, Trump went after triggers, and that's what he was trying to do. Was he was trying to get, he was going after what he knew he could go after. Like what was really crazy was when he mentioned his son. Now he started mentioning his son, and the Biden went left on this issue, which was interesting. And what I mean with left is he immediately turned that Trump's going after his son, and some of the controversy between getting, I think it's Hunter getting money from Ukraine and stuff like that.
Right. Exactly.
And China and stuff like whatever the stuff that's going on with that. And he turned it on. You don't respect American soldiers. You call them losers, and you called them losers. And my son, who got medals and Bronze Star or something like that. And then he's like, and he turned it instead of on Hunter, he pivoted to Donald Trump talking about soldiers and talking about his son who unfortunately died of cancer.
Right.
And then he just like got all kind, and then he's like, Trump's like, I don't know that son. I know Hunter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, well, shit.
Yeah, I was kind of like, get that. I don't know that son. I mean, do you think that's like an off limits thing? Because everything was now starting to become off.
I mean, how would we feel if if Biden went after Ivanka or Barron?
That's what I'm saying.
Granted, we knew who Trump was going after. He was going after Hunter and bringing up all the stuff with that, and it was honestly a smart move by Biden because one, it gave him all the fury and rage to be like, even though we all knew Trump wasn't going after him or meaning him.
Right.
But then I liked how he went. He said, "Oh, Hunter, he got kicked out of the military because of cocaine." And
exactly.
You're fixing it. I was like, shit. Y'all just go ahead and get have an old gray fight. Let's just do it.
I think we should have W come back. I know we were just talking about W earlier, and I think W should just like be the moderator. Got you, buddy. Next question. Okay, the economy or something like. Because I'm telling you, Chris Wallace. He would not. He would. I'd have just been like, "Are you done?" I'd been cutting mics. I'd have been like, "Stop, sir, stop." And then just like everything would. I'd have gave the freaking hand up or the red card or the green card or something to show the other candidate to shut the fuck up, so that way that person can just ramble on. Because I'll sit there and watch it. Because the whole freaking strategy that the Republicans should have done on this was should just let. They always talk shit about fucking Sleepy Joe. They always talk shit about how he is not cognizant about stuff. How he always has this bad memory. This would have been the opportunity to lay the cards out, to ask a couple questions, and then let Biden ramble. Let him do it to himself. You know, and of course, then he would
People were talking about putting them in putting them in a booth and like muting them. I was like, hell yeah,
yeah, exactly. I'm just like.
So more stuff happened. One thing, after he kept, after he said keep yapping, man. He said, the Trump quote, "The people understand, Joe. 47 years in politics, you've done nothing. They understand," which is kind of true. I mean, he's done stuff. Joe Biden had, signed the Patriot, was one of the architects for the Patriot Act, signed a criminal bill that's taken many of African American men from the home with this, it's a crime bill that unfortunately targeted. Well, I won't say targeted, but affected minority communities more.
Yeah.
There's went after Anita Hill during the Supreme Court confirmation of Judge
Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas. Yeah.
Clarence Thomas. See, I was halfway there.
You weren't alive during that time, but I was.
I'm only so smart. There's a lot of stuff that Biden has done that, yes, he's done it, but it wasn't really great. But Trump didn't come out really great either. There was one part that just Twitter elitted with this was when the president was initially asked if he was prepared to condone white supremacists. Now, remember that he also put a thing saying, a bill going out. He says he put out an executive order or a bill or something that said that, declaring Antifa and the KKK domestic terrorists. He initially said he would, but when asked to he said he would, but when really asked to denounce the far right, like the Proud Boys, which was a group Chris Wallace did by name, he sidestepped it. He said, "Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. I'll tell you what somebody's got to do something about Antifa on the left," which that was the weird thing. Granted, he kept going after Antifa, and Biden didn't. Biden definitely didn't condemn Antifa, but that should to me that should have been an easy thing. Though it was weird how he said stand back, and stand by. Like there was a White House advisor who pretty much was like, all you had to do was say fuck off, Proud Boys, fuck off, or anything like that. Not stand, because everyone's like, oh, you see, it goes back to the whole, he's controlling races, and you see, he's told them to stand by. It's like, we know that. Most people know that's not what he meant, but it was.
You were talking about it being a call, it was supposed to be like a call to action or something. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm the media.
I'm sure they took it that way.
The media.
Please call us and let us know what you took that as.
Yeah, because that's another thing too. The media really kind of blew it out of proportion too on some of this. Some of these things, that some of it takes literally, some of it is not literal. It's the common person that media you're supposed to be getting. You're supposed to be giving the information and all that stuff, and then you're like, oh, okay, because did it raise my eyebrow a little bit? I'm like, dude, why don't you just fucking say it? Fuck the Proud Boys. Fuck Antifa. KKK is now a terrorist organization. I should have made them a terrorist a long time ago. But straight up, he should have just said it right then and there. And you know what? But I'm gonna tell you right now, Flash, it will never be enough. It will never be enough for him to say any of this ever at all. He'll never. He could say he's gonna send drone strikes against them, and then the argument will shift to, oh well, see now he's droning Americans. You know what I mean? He's not gonna fucking win.
We already had a president who took out Americans.
Oh
snap!
oh snap!
Now, for people who don't know, the Proud Boys are anti-immigrant, all mostly male group that I guess they're I did take a search, and there's a lot of quote unquote Proud Boys who did, take that as a call to action. But then I saw, I think it was a CBS article that they apparently there's a Proud Boy rally, and there's way more. It was more diverse than you would think, but hey, whatever. There was also Antifa that was brought up a lot, short for anti-fascist. A loose affiliation with the far left activists that often clash with the far right at street protests. I'm sorry, they don't clash. If there are anyone else who's there who's willing to fight, the Antifa usually get their ass kicked. They're that kid who loves to talk shit, but then when you go, all right, let's go, and then they grab apparently cans of soup and bricks and shit. But outside of that, bunch of pussies.
I'll be honest with you.
Of course, they all look like a bunch of idiots coming out there with their their shields and helmets.
I'll be honest with you.
Acting like they're something.
I have not seen any of those groups that what we've seen, except for a couple of MAGA heads that were freaking that punched out.
Not really since Charlottesville.
Right. Yeah.
That was the last time you saw a huge gathering.
Yeah. And that wasn't really.
Right,
yeah, but was that? But was they? But were they? See that. That's another thing too. Are they clumping? Or is the media clumping a bunch of people? Because the stuff that we were talking about this. The stuff that we see on the ground pictures and on the ground imagery of from the Boogaloo and the Proud Boys and the other groups. I'm not seeing a lot of other freaking. I'm not seeing this white supremacists causing all these riots. As a matter of fact, are we still having protests? Are we still having riots? Is that still happening?
I'm pretty sure they're on like 70 days or something, plus 70 days in Portland or Seattle or something.
I'm about to say, I was just wondering, because that's just kind of like that's like the ball has been taken off that now. The eye's been taken off the ball, I guess, when it comes to how many protests we had. Hey, BLM, I guess you guys got screwed. I guess you guys, nobody cares about you anymore because now the media is no longer talking about your protests.
Yeah, one thing that I've had a conversation with a lot of people that have talked to me about Black Lives Matter is that the people who are the loudest about Black Lives Matter have taken over it, and it doesn't mean the same thing anymore. I think there's certain activists within Black Lives Matter who are still fighting the good fight and have a solid message that they want to be treated fairly with everything, including. Right. How the police see them and how our court systems see them.
Pip says in the chat that the Proud Boys ran by a black Hispanic. See, that's what's funny. I'm glad you brought that up.
Black Lives Matter is ran by a white boy. So.
Well, isn't okay? There's
he's not. Apparently, he's just light skinned.
Yeah, there's a the black Hispanic is I guess is run by a black Hispanic guy. And he literally said in Spanish to everybody that he is, he's not a racist. He's saying this in Spanish, by the way, and he's saying this on Telemundo. And what's really funny is that no one's taken the word of what that individual is. Like I said, I look at this and I look at optics. I look at perception. I saw some of the laughing on Twitter, and I liked an emoji, or I laughed along with an emoji from somebody because everyone's cracking on Sean King. And
there you go, Sean King.
That's his name, Sean King. They call him Martin Luther Cream. Talcum X. I'm reading this stuff from Twitter. Talcum X. And I've asked Black Americans about how they feel about Sean King, and they just by me asking again, and I get the hey, Ken, this is like freaking this guy is not representative of the black community. This guy is not even black. This guy's not even whatever. But then the black Hispanic guys that speaks for the Proud Boys, it's almost like you're watching imagery. And that's what I was telling you about the on the ground stuff that we were talking about before. There's imagery of Black Lives Matter and Proud Boys hanging out together, just like the Boogaloo movement and hanging out together. So it's really freaking these times right now, especially during the election, everyone's freaking out because now the Democratic Party is saying that it's not good to have riots. You need to tone down the violence. Knock that shit off.
Well, that's actually interesting because another key moment was when the president was asked if he would encourage his supporters to be peaceful if the results of the election. Oh, excuse me, tequila's coming back up. Were unclear. He says, "I'm encouraging my supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully." That concerned a lot of people. Another key moment was when Mr. President said to Joe Biden, would he be he would be at the behest of the left of the Democratic Party over health and environmental policies. Mr. Biden responded, "I am the Democratic Party right now." Another one was when Donald Trump defended his efforts to swiftly fill the U.S. Supreme Court seat. That was a very hot subject to cement, what they consider a 6-3 conservative majority on the bench, saying, "We won the election. We have the right to do it." And that's true. And then another one, the president brought up the past drug use, what we talked about, of Joe Biden's son, Hunter, who was discharged from the Navy in 2014 for taking the cocaine.
Was he?
Mr. Trump, he said, "My
discharged?
son, like a lot of people have a lot of people, at home, have a drug problem. He's overtaken it. He's fixed it." Sure. Hey, cocaine's one of those. Cocaine's one hell of a drug. Cocaine's one of those drugs that it's really hard to really kick. Like, hey, more power to Hunter. I've got nothing. I got nothing against him. It's his dad, the dads that are being douchebags. But cocaine's a hard one. And I'm not surprised he got kicked out. Actually, kind of surprised he got kicked out the Navy. I mean, kind of need that to keep going. Joe Biden. Hey, you had to be on a ship for like hours and on?
Yes, for an exercise. For an exercise, I had to be on it. Yeah, for an exercise, I had to be on an amphibious assault ship. And the Marines and the squids called us lazy because we were just sitting there. I'm like, well, we don't work on a ship, so we're not squids or jarheads to do ship stuff on ships. So we just waiting for.
No shiver me timbers.
Yeah, we're supposed to be waiting for this thing called an LCAC. Do you know what that is? And they look at you like all crazy when you start asking questions about stuff that they know that it's obvious, but to Army guys that don't, like, whoa, Billawood, raw, yut. So, anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Biden, another one was, talking about the coronavirus. Biden, said that Donald Trump had panicked over the coronavirus pandemic, which has killed more, right now north of 200,000 Americans. Quote, "A lot of people have died and a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker," Biden said. Donald Trump objected and using the word smart. He said, "You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class." The president says, "Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word." Okay. Local rules requires everyone in the room to wear masks, but the president's family members present, only the U.S. First Lady Melania Trump donned a face mask covering during the debate, which is kind of crazy. Now, here's the kicker. Here's, let's talk about who we consider, quote unquote, won the debate, which is kind of hard to anyone to win a debate. It's only been a thing since like the last 10 years that there's somebody declared a winner. Honestly, this political debate was nothing more than a food fight.
It is. Yeah, I agree.
It's real. Pretty much whoever emerged less covered in slop.
Yeah.
Is victorious. And now, and from my analysis, a lot of people think Joe Biden. One, I honestly think that it was a shit show, and both of them look like asses, and both of them make me weep for our elected officials. One, I always feel bad. I know a lot of people don't say it, but I feel bad for the congressmen, the congressmen and women who are just trying to fucking do their job, but these far left, far right politics make because there's only a handful on each side that really are on TV all the time, and the majority of them are in the background or just fucking actually doing their job and shit. And I always feel bad for them to have to deal with this. So a lot of people think that Joe Biden, because Joe Biden kind of was, I guess, edged him out, if only because this man's goal was to prove to America that he could hold up under pressure. I don't know if he really did that 100%, but I think he tried to be as unrattled as possible. That he had not lost a step due to his advancing age. He had to show, which, hey, have you seen pictures of a wire underneath his collar or some shit?
I was about that was
gonna. I don't know if that's photoshopped or not, but
I was gonna say I literally was gonna ask you about that. So what is, what is your thoughts about that? Did you think it was a wire? We're not here to pass. I mean personally, I need to see. I need to see more detailed information because me, dude. I work.
I think it's Photoshop.
Yeah,
they've been pitching it, and it doesn't seem like something.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like something that was really an issue. And plus, here's the thing: Donald Trump could have let Joe Biden hang himself with his age and how he likes to get caught up and stuff. But with the president, talking over him, it made it really hard for him to prove one way or another that, you didn't really give him a chance to, to damage his own cause, which we know Joe Biden would have. It's no matter how you look at it, I don't really see, a winner. I see the American people as a loser, that these are the best two in the Republican Democratic Party that we could come up with. And that's why I myself, Flash, will be voting for Joe Jorgensen and the Libertarian Party, because holy crap. If I was on the fence before, I'm not anymore. Like, I'm pissed off. Like, why the hell we're letting these two assholes up there who are, calling names, acting like a bunch of middle schoolers, but we can't have a smart woman who's got a legitimate campaign, a legitimate platform, who's actually educated and can speak without sounding stupid or like he's reading off of Twitter. And we're like, nah, you didn't make our poll count poll cutoff. Well, what are the numbers? Oh, we didn't actually poll you. So
what's funny is that I think that the mic drop should have been her just walking in. Like, they should have her just showing up. Like, she's like, all of a sudden, I
hope she shows up to the next debate. Even if she can't get in, just be like, cool. I'll sit here and debate outside.
Right. Or she'll answer the questions as she's going on. And really, I'll be honest with you, is that if they start bickering, then you know what? That'd be great. You should be able to have a dual track recording. As a matter of fact, for the moderators for the debate commission, here's what we proposed. U.S. Army WTF Nation Radio. We propose this: that as the two start bickering off and you don't want to hear what they say, allow somebody to click a button during the stream to hear what Joe Jorgensen's got to say about that. And have her respond to that in another stream. And then, bam, as soon as you see them going back and forth, yapping, because it's going to get worse.
They didn't make they didn't put in like a Zoom call or something, or MS Teams or something, where I can mute somebody. So I don't let them talk. But there is hope for the people out there. Now, this all depends on the president. For those who are not aware, which I'm sure no one lives under a rock unless you're Phil Leach. The president contracted COVID. Actually, the first lady contracted COVID. The press secretary came out
Kayla
today
McKinney.
For COVID. Hope Hicks actually was the one who had COVID. Apparently, COVID first.
Yep.
It kind of spread the funk around. But after 3 days of treatment and several doctors doing press briefings, he decided to say deuce to Walter Reed this afternoon.
Oh my God, he was only for 3 days. People are losing their shit. People are losing their shit because he took off.
Wanted, like, what was his CT scans? What was his liver like? And they're like, HIPAA, dude.
You know what? What's really funny?
I can't discuss it because of HIPAA.
HIPAA, exactly.
Like, what was his blood alcohol content?
Exactly. I want to know how many he took. What's his urine level look like? Is he hydrated? Here's where we're getting to the stuff. Remember what I was telling you?
What was his white blood count?
What was his T cell count? Here's the thing too, man. Remember I was telling you we were talking about the pendulum swinging back, and I guarantee it. Think about it. Is anybody asking when the last time? Did you notice this right now? And this is just something that it's one of those makes you go Is that the White House, all the stuff that's happening and all this events that are happening where people are catching COVID and all this other crap, you've not heard about anybody else not catching anything. You notice that? The only reporting individuals that, because it's just like a lot more people. You got Senator Tom Tillis. You have, COVID is becoming the Senate. I am the Senate. You're not seeing any of the reports of other party members of the other side, members of the other party. We've not heard anything about a rise in COVID counts. You know what I mean? You notice that's kind of like dropped off. It's more focused on the Republican Party. And I'll be honest with you, that pendulum better be careful, because once things start happening, they're going to start asking. Look, the way they're asking about the president's physical condition right now would be no different than a reporter when a new administration up there is asking about when the last time Kamala Harris had a pap smear. No fucking lie. No fucking lie.
Lions want to know.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Really.
I'm not saying that just to be fucking. I'm not being. This is the way the media is supposed to be.
That if you're asking for blood, they were asking for like the CT scans and like liver, liver function issues and stuff like that. It's like, dude, what we really need to get into all that? Like,
right? No, that's what I'm saying. You got to be careful, because then they're going to attack the media, just like the media is attacking Trump right now and attacking. Dude, we have individuals in the media right now that are hoping that he dies. So what makes you? This is open season for.
There was a I believe it was a Washington I believe it was a Washington Post tweet that said, "What would life be like, without Trump?"
Without Trump, yeah, it was whatever like that. Yeah,
and then they immediately deleted it.
Yeah. See, I mean,
I believe it was Washington Post.
I'm gonna get a bunch of shit. Yeah, I'm gonna get a bunch of shit about asking about what Kamala Harris's physical stuff like that. I'm guaranteeing it. The media is gonna attack her on it. The media there has already been talks about what their health is like since they're going that. When was the last time that she has this? And it's going to go that way because you're going to have individuals that are going to push it to the extreme. I do this for a fucking living. I know the extremes of what media goes and propaganda goes on one side or the next. That's what happens. They're going to push themselves, and we also have foreign influences out there. They're going to push their asses on this stuff that's not coming from us. Oh, I can't believe you said that. I will fucking say it again. This doesn't bother me. Anything to delay the SCOTUS vote? Exactly that. Pelosi refused to be tested. Why? Why isn't anybody exactly that cause? Why isn't anybody else from the members of Congress on the Democratic side of the House being asked not to be tested or whatever, or asked for physical? See, you start going into that business. Well, we need to know. Do you fucking need to know? I'm getting fucking heated up before fucking Joe shows up. I'm not sure he's not gonna show up. He's good.
All right. Well, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So let's talk about.
Go for it. What the light at the end of the tunnel? What's the light at the end of the tunnel for this? Go ahead.
Well, the president seems to be in good spirits. He's up and running. They do feel like the debates are going to continue. The next one is the vice presidential debate between Mike Pence and Kamala Harris. So here's one thing. The commission that oversees U.S. presidential debates say that it will change the format to ensure the remaining, two encounters between Donald Trump and Joe Biden are, more orderly, I guess is the best way to put it. One new measure could be to cut the microphone if a candidate tries to interrupt each other. Just mute the motherfucker. Like, Don't even just be like, you're done talking, boom, and then until I say, Mr. President, you can now respond, bam.
They're the judge.
Joe Biden, you can now just bam, like just be like, cut them off immediately. The announcement follows the ill-tempered debate that descended into squabbling, bickering, insult, and chaos. President Trump's team has already criticized the commission's plans. The tone and tactics of the first presidential debate were criticized across the U.S. and around the world. The fallout, however, has also been dominated by Mr. Trump's refusal to debate, to explicitly condone the far-right group, blah, blah, blah. So what's the reaction? Trump's campaign communication director, Tim Murtaugh, who had described the debate chaos scene as a free exchange of ideas, criticized the plans. That wasn't an exchange of ideas. I barely heard an idea on anything.
I didn't hear.
I heard, well, I've done this, and this guy won't do this, or I'll do this.
Would you let me talk? 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 Would you let me?
We're talking about the debate. I'm cutting you off.
I'm cutting you off. Oh, shut up, clown.
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
Shut up, man. What's up, fellow teenagers?
Yeah, exactly. Hello there, fellow children. Oh, my God. Oh, man. Are you sure Joe's like, I don't want to stumble in this shit? He's going to be like, oh, my God.
Well, the commission said, Tim Murtaugh, the communication director for Trump's campaign, said President Trump was the dominant force, and now Joe Biden is trying to work the rest. They shouldn't be moving to goalposts and exchanging the rules in the middle of the game. Bullshit. Shut up. Because you have to remember, these were rules that both campaigns agreed on. The questions, the time, even the dates, were all agreed on by these campaigns. So it's not the commission's fault for deciding to say, fuck you guys, you can't act like adults. We're going to treat you like children. And we're going to make sure, just like you have to do for virtual training, mute the kids, I'm going to mute you until it's time for you to talk. And you can sit there and make facial expressions and him and haw, whatever. No one's going to hear you. And we're going to focus. That way, Donald Trump can, the president can be judged on his words and what he wants to say. And Joe Biden, former Vice President Joe Biden, will be judged on what he says instead of these two squabbling back and forth. So you know what? If Donald Trump was smart, he would let Joe Biden. He
That's what I'm saying
about his mental fitness all the time. Let him hang himself at 2 minutes to talk.
Yeah, he should have done that from the get go. That should have been the norm from the get go. And
that's
I
what you want to do. Cutting him off and making him where he's got to defend himself and get these quips like clown and shut up, man. Would you just shut up, man? Like those are little like pieces that everyone. Everyone's on Twitter's going, oh, am I making a hell, the Democratic Party already made a T-shirt like calling him a clown, the president a clown or something like that. Like you're giving him opportunities to get these to get these little one-liners in there instead of letting him go and forgetting what he was going to fucking say.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think they're gonna. It's not a win situation anyways, man. Just by the whole. I mean, Pip's got a good point in there too. If they do the mute thing, it's like silencing a candidate. It's no worse or no better than having
candidate when you don't let another candidate talk.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. However,
cut him off like halfway during his speech, silencing.
Yeah.
But if Joe Biden's trying to talk, or if the president's trying to talk and you hear, "Shut up, man! You're a clown. That's stupid. That never works." That's silencing the campaign. I mean,
right.
That's something that Donald Trump is doing.
Right.
He silenced overbears.
Yeah.
He silences them by overbearing them and takes over the conversation. So now you're talking that this is a fair playing field. When they say you're going to have 2 minutes of uninterrupted time to talk to the American people and tell them your plan for the environment, your plan for healthcare, and your plan for this, that means that. Not, I'm going to speak for 20 seconds before the president hems and haws and decides to do something, or I'm going to start talking and then I get called a clown and told to shut up, man. So I mean, I get what he's saying, but this is probably the smartest thing to do, to actually hear candidates have to rely on their own words and their own thoughts and policies instead of relying on I can make the other person look dumb. Instead of them, I'm going to make myself look smart by answering these questions.
That's what I'm saying. I think they kind of.
And that's the bottom line. Stone Cold said so. Yeah. I saw a meme that had that, and it's been stuck in my head all day. Love Stone Cold. I'll crack some beer and just like drink it over my head and shit.
Oh man. Okay, we are going to take a break right now, so that way our guests can call in. And we're going to be talking about the Dragon Innovation Program. And we're actually probably just going to catch up first because it's been a while. I mean, it's not been a while. I talk to Joe just about every other day just to see what he's been up to and what he's got going on. But other than that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. Everyone refill your glasses, go get some shots, and smoke them if you got them. And then we'll be right back. Stand by. Shouts.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue.
Nothing feels the same. Left it all behind.
waking up and fading out. Cirrus shapes I found blow me away. Van Allen right around, pushing through. Skin is brown. Nature has us trapped in fear, so I get lost in sound. I wonder if you'll ever know why I am the way I am. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life is never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Constellation theme, mapping stars that are meant to be. Geminis are free of suicidal kings. This misty maze of me, so obvious yet never seen. Feeling though the fog will lift to find me lost at sea. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life is never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Myself and I am so lost in miracle, far away from life. But I want your visible feeling to be mine. Oh, I just don't get it. When will your heart beat with my mind? Oh, I've been thinking a lot. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life and it's never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Hello, mama. Hello, daddy. I've got something that I've never said before. Went down south of the border. Now life, it's got a little harder for me. I fell in love with some girl. She told me that she was gonna rock my world. Now I'm stuck here with no money. Don't that just sound a little funny for you? Well, her name was Maria. She told me she was always by my side. Went home one evening. She was with another man. He tried to run and hide. I pulled out my 45. I told them that I was gonna take their life. Now I'm stuck here on the run. I don't know the animal I have become, so won't you save me? Save me! Won't you save me? Save me! Won't you save me? Save me! Won't you please put me out of my little misery? Well, I know life is short. Mom, you know I always try to do my best. Should've listened when you told me I wouldn't be caught in this mess. Gotta go now, Dad, I'm sorry. Everybody, all y'all need to know this is life, a true story. when you chase us down in Mexico. Save me, save me. Won't you save me, save me, save me, save me. Won't you please put me out of my little misery?
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
Oh, man. And we're back. Woo! So... man, we are rocking it right now with part 2 of the Monday edition. Spanky and Flash are obviously taking a break while I shoot the shit with our next guest. Our guest is Colonel Joe Buccino. What's going on, man?
Ken, how are you, man? Always good to be back on the show. Always good to talk to you. It's been a while since I've been on the show, but... been interesting to follow you, talk to you. We've been in touch the whole time.
Yeah, well, we've known each other for a while, man. Come on,
We've known each other for a while, man.
Yeah, so we have some history that goes, and I tell so they don't believe me when they say that we have history going all the way out to your SecDef days too, and they're like, no, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, there you go, confirm. See, I'm not lying. But
that was, as you know, I gave you a little bit of behind the scenes. That was a wild time in my life, Ken. You know that.
I was honored to have known that information. You know, I would never have betrayed your trust on that. But it was,
I know that.
It was some of the stuff that more newsworthier than newsworthy could be newsworthy, and it was. Again, we appreciate you, kind of reaching out to us to help you mitigate stuff, I guess, to help you handle shit. But
let's move on here, Ken.
I don't know. Hey, you took us down to that dark place. So, well, let's go back from there then. Okay, so then you did the show with us to talk about All American Week. That was the groundbreaking unit event for us with you. And then when you were the public affairs officer for the 82nd Airborne Division, and then you worked for Secretary of Defense Mattis. You did your time there, and then from there, what happened? What did you do? Where did you go after that? To go ahead and just give us a pick me up or pick up where you left off type stuff.
Yeah. So then I worked very briefly for not very briefly, but I worked during his time there for Secretary Shanahan, who you met.
Yep.
Secretary Pat Shanahan, who you met, and then I went to off-ramped when he departed, and I off-ramped to the Army War College. A year at the Army War College, which was. I was certainly in my element, kept in touch with you there. We talked all the time there, and then back here on Fort Bragg, reconnected, and now with the 18th Airborne Corps, America's Contingency Corps.
That's right. So you've been doing a lot of stuff with the Corps now. So now was it? How's it feel to be at the Corps level now? Because before you were just, did it feel like you're kind of like, oh, okay, well, I've done this. Obviously, bringing up the SecDef level, did it give you a lot more understanding to deal with them, to be the Corps guy?
Oh, I don't know. It's a lot of as you would imagine. It's you're certainly it's a wider aperture. We've got forces, all over the country, 14 different installations. The Corps is enormous. It's about a fifth of the Army. And, you've got to highlight, understand, promote different things. Only 20% of the 18th Airborne Corps is actually airborne. So, you've got to here in Fort Bragg, as you would imagine, you sometimes get honed in on the 82nd Airborne and the airborne capability of the Corps, but it's much more diverse than that. It's larger than that. It's more powerful than that. It's more complicated than that. So, it's all interesting. It's interesting to me. As you know, I'm out here in Fob Patriot. We begin our Warfighter tomorrow, around this time tomorrow. And so, Warfighter on this level with this diverse force is, it's interesting. It's all, sort of theater of the mind in terms of the capabilities that come together. And, I talk about history and think about history all the time, and really kind of mining the lessons from history to apply that to a force like this. It's a fascinating window into American force, I guess.
You bring that up and you say it's large. Just how big? How many units? How many large maneuver units are in 18th Airborne Corps? For the, I don't want to say for the legs, but for those that are not they're not airborne enthusiasts.
Yeah. So you've got mechanized, you've got tanks, you've got 3rd Infantry Division, the 101st, which has an incredible vertical lift capability, air assault capability, 10th Mountain Division, light infantry, the 82nd, and then you've got separate brigades really here on Fort Bragg and Fort Eustis, Virginia. You've got engineers, separate brigades. You've got 7th Transportation Brigade, Expeditionary. You've got a 1-star command, the 3rd Expeditionary Statement Command here on Bragg. So there's a lot to it. There's a lot of capability there. There's a lot of power, and there's a lot of really smart people here. So it's big, and you could be on Fort Stewart, and you probably don't particularly feel much of a connection to the 18th Airborne Corps or to the headquarters or to our, I guess, branding, but we're trying to change that. We're trying to change that, and we don't do as good a job, or I don't do as good a job as I should with demonstrating that diversity. We've got to get off of Fort Bragg, get off of the airborne, and when you look through our social media, you should be able to see how big this thing is.
And you bring up a good point about the history side of it.
Yeah.
The historical portion of it, I know I was able to work with you on the Atomic Age series, and that was the most incredible experience, being able to work with the Center of Military History, CAC, you, and then being able to dig into actually for me it was challenging to work with the public affairs individuals in the Signal Corps to get the, I guess you would say, the messaging side, the public affairs IO side of it. We laughed at a lot of the stuff that was in the division, the STRAC divisions, the way the Army used to be. That do you think now that going back when we were talking about the Atomic Age series and going back when we were talking about this innovation stuff, do we all change? Did we change for the better on some of this stuff, or did you think that there's some things that we need to work at?
Well, we certainly understand the world in a more holistic way. We certainly have a greater understanding of what's happening outside of our borders and the way our competitors think about competition and about us. And as an Army, I think we're certainly more thoughtful now. There were a lot of things that the Army got right about that period, but they were what the Army, I think, understood was that, interestingly, I mean, I don't, you got me talking about, Eisenhower and the Cold War, and we'll be here for like the rest of the night. But
Exactly.
I'll just say that there are a lot of things that Army leaders, Ridgway, Taylor, Gavin, really these airborne guys, airborne mafia that came out of World War II, understood about land power that Eisenhower, believe it or not, Eisenhower, the great general, although he was not a combat general, the great general, that he got wrong when he was president. And so, that was an interesting thing. And I do have to say, like, that was what we did with that series was really unheard of. It was really unique. We had a lot of people involved in it. Sergeant Major Levine, General Donahue, who's now Maneuver Center of Excellence commander. Eric Villard, Center Military for History, Army War College. We had a lot of people coming together to I think, inform and provide this wisdom from our history and do it in a way that was humorous and engaging. And, I really do appreciate you working with us on that, man.
No, I appreciate being invited. It was fun. I was able to dust off the archives and call people up and get an interesting. I got to meet, well, I guess you would say in cyberspace, Master Sergeant Stuart Corrine. He became our public affairs / information operations spokesman during the series on the messaging side of the house, and it was just incredible. Just how we saw, like you were saying, how we were selling ourselves in the Army, or how we were selling the Army to the American public. I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah. that leads into this next topic, or the reason why you're here. You didn't come over here just to talk about, we didn't talk history and drinking beers together. You guys decided to you want, as it was written in Task and Purpose, the 18th Airborne Corps wants you to help fix the Army. What is this about? What's going on?
So one of the things that General Kurilla used to say when he commanded the 82nd Airborne Division, he says it now, he's been consistent on this, is that there are, in a big organization like this, like 18th Airborne Corps, there are good ideas and there are solutions to existing problems that are trapped inside of our formations. It's the bureaucracy of the Army that locks them in, and just the enormity of the Army that locks those ideas inside of those formations. So we want to pop them out. We want to break through the bureaucracy and get to the idea and apply it at scale very quickly. And so when we were in the 82nd, we had a portal system where you could, Airborne Initiative Portal, AIP. And so you could go into the portal and you'd submit your good idea. It would go straight to the command group. Now, there are a couple of problems with that. First of all, you need access to the portal. You need a CAC-enabled computer. You got to be able to get onto the portal. You got to have rights, all that kind of stuff. So we wanted to simplify that and basically provide a platform where soldiers could input their ideas and really solve problems that we didn't even understand, or solve for inefficiencies that we couldn't see here in the Corps headquarters. So the way to do that was we created a website. This is a third-party website. It's innovatedefense.net/XVII-Airborne. So if you go to our Twitter account, just before I came on here, I placed that link, the link to the website, in the profile, the bio of our Twitter account.
Well, we got it posted. We got it posted. We got it posted in the chats, in the comments right now. Good. on your.
Good. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. So you, just to explain the website. The website, you go to that website and you identify the solution that you've come up with.
Okay. Well, hang on, man. Let's go to the website. Let's take the team to the website. So. Good. We're right now. We've hit the splash page of the website, and it's got the 18th Airborne Corps innovating stuff. First off, there's the challenge right there. Can you tell us what the challenge is all about? What is the what challenge? Is there a timeline?
There's a timeline. It's coming to an end. So the challenge is submit an idea, basically the best idea, the idea with the greatest utility across the Corps for a specific problem set. That problem set is ranges, land, at training areas, and so that's it's really that broad.
Okay.
What are the inefficiencies with regard to requisitioning land, training areas, ranges, signing for it, closing it out, using it, anything therein?
Okay.
What are the inefficiencies, and how will you solve for them? Most importantly, how will you solve for them?
Right.
And so the best idea here, that the solution, the winning solution, the solution that has the greatest utility, gets some pretty big prizes. The innovator there gets some pretty big prizes. So there's really there's an MSM awarded by General Carrilla. There's a 4-day pass, and then there's a school of the soldier's choice. So those are pretty significant. And so that
but also
idea submission process.
But also, because I was playing around with the website too, the individual is able to be part of the implementation of their innovation idea, if applicable, of course.
That's right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So let me just, if I can, just walk you through the timeline, because this is going to be new for you, the information that I'm providing now. Idea submission ends on 15 October. So we're on what, the 5th or the 6th?
Right. Exactly, sir.
So we got 10 days. So in 10 days, you can no longer submit ideas for this problem with regard to ranges. Okay, then between the 15th and the 20th, we're calling this, primary season, right? So you go in and vote. So soldiers who have an account, or even soldiers who don't have an account, are encouraged to go to that website, make an account, and you like any the challenge solution that you feel has greatest utility.
Okay.
Okay, so that's primary season. That takes us to October 20th. The polls close on October 20th.
Okay.
Then the next phase of this, phase 3, we're calling this Dragon's Lair. Dragon's Lair is like most good ideas, it's stolen. Okay, so this is like
tell me about
it. This is Shark Tank, but with this idea, this program.
It's called Dragon Tank. I got the screen up right now.
Yeah. We changed it from Dragon Tank to Dragon's Lair.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So the idea is, we've got a panel in the 18th Airborne Corps headquarters, and so the primary season gets us to the top 3. The top 3 vote getters advance on to Dragon's Lair, the Dragon's Lair program. We've got a panel there in the 18th Airborne Corps headquarters, and it's like Sergeant Major, the Fort Bragg Range Management Office, so folks who understand this problem, and each innovator comes before the Dragon's Lair on Microsoft Teams and submits their idea. It kind of presents, gives a pitch for their idea, just like in the show Shark Tank.
Right.
Okay. And we're going to, highlight all this. It's all going to be very. We're going to be very transparent with all this. We're going to highlight all this on our social media. We're going to bring in media to highlight this. And then we will reveal the winner on October 30th. And then from there, the month of November, we go into implementation.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, let's go to this.
We would tell people is go onto the site, make an account, look through the solutions, and vote for the one. You can do it now.
Right.
You can do it now.
Right. Because right now I have the screen up where it says step 1, join the community by clicking on join the community, and then right now. So right now we're on the home page. We'll go to the home page right now, and it says sign in, defense, and innovation. Oops, I went over too head. Bam. There we go. So right now we have the ideas in the activity space, and we have the challenge information to include the how to submit, and then you also have things that are indicated as non-challenge, and then also part of personnel policy software. You got a lot of stuff in here, man. Holy crap.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot to the website, but there are 2 ways to submit ideas. So the challenge is its own thing, right? And that's important. We're trying to get a lot of folks competing for that, and we're also trying to get a lot of people voting and also submitting feedback on the solutions that were submitted. The other part is the unbounded, what we call the unbounded solutions. Then the unbounded solutions, you could look at the first page here, and you see, Army Individual Managed Mobile App, create database teams, unit leaders reporting. So there are things here that have nothing to do with the challenge. They're not tied to land range training areas, but they solve for inefficiencies that a soldier sees in her daily life.
Okay, so the unit leaders reporting right now is that currently, just to give an example, and this is, I see a 35th Signal Brigade flag right there. Currently, in today's Army, soldiers are being abused, harassed, assaulted by more of their unit. The Army and 18th Airborne Corps needs to develop a program to report leaders of their behaviors and actions, and of course, with the information being confidential to the public eye. So this is a unit leaders reporting as in this is like a IG app? It seems like a possibility for an IG app idea.
Yeah, I mean, we basically, for something like this, in this kind of case where it may not be fully developed for us to advance it onto the Innovation Council.
Correct.
We go in there and just get some more questions, kind of what's the, how do we create this? What's the idea? Spell it out a little bit.
You also you've got the feedback, which is as of today, with you yourself answering. It sounds like you've identified some disturbing behavior in your unit. Have you considered filing a report with the Office of the Inspector General? Are the current safeguards in place to protect soldiers from abusive leadership insufficient? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you're giving real time feedback to those that submit, basically.
Yeah, basically, we try that. There's a few of us, who are part of the working group here with this. We try to give some kind of feedback within 72 hours to every submission. So, if you're submitting here, Ken, if you come up with an idea, you submit it to the website, you should feel that you're not just sending this out into the void, that there's some management oversight of this, that's providing feedback, that's looking into it, and we are doing that. In fact, one thing I would tell you is that one thing we started just before Warfighter, so we started and then we're pausing it here for a couple of weeks, is every Monday, a different submission, and one of the unbounded submissions, not tied to the challenge, an unbounded submission will present their submission to General Kurilla and the entire command team via Microsoft Teams in our Innovation Touchpoint. So we've been doing the Innovation Touchpoints. We just now started a platform for the Innovation Touchpoint where a submission, somebody who submitted one of these ideas, will present their submission to General Kurilla, the Deputy Commanding General, Chief of Staff, really the entire staff and command in our Innovation Touchpoint. We did the first one a week ago, and we're starting again here after we have this little pause with Warfighter. So, the command is very serious about this. We did have a lot of submissions, as you can see through here. What I wish that we had more of, Ken, and I hope we have more of, is have soldiers go through these and provide, kind of be like an honest broker on each of these.
Some of these some of these subject areas, Joe, are pretty pertinent to what we see in the inbox, like for paper or paperless orders for PCS. General Kurilla was the one that killed the additional DA-31 cover sheets of BedPro's Excellence just to go on leave. And you have one submission here that says soldiers are required to take over 20 copies of multi-page orders on average when PCSing the result to increase printer. Blah blah blah. PCS orders make multiple copies, multiple page orders. Basically, what they're doing is they want to develop a QR code system to encapsulate the orders information, read and integrate for required agencies or system to condense all the orders information on a CAC or similar to a CAC information linked to DEERS. That's smart. That's that right there, that's an issue that I think, for especially with during the time of COVID, with exception of policy letters that have to get submitted, especially now, not even realizing it. Well, the kid probably didn't realize it at the time, but who would have thought right now with COVID this actually would be applicable?
Right. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. And if you go through here, you've got you've got a wide range of submissions. Some of them involve the development of additional forces and force structure. So obviously those we can't do, but we pass them on to either Army Futures Command or Army G357 through our Innovation Council. Those we can't action here at the Corps headquarters, but we can endorse and send them forward. And then some of them are much simpler. Some of them are much simpler in terms of manifestation, but they're things that we had really never thought of for the most part. So we've got a really good mix here within the submissions. Well, one thing you mentioned, the task and purpose article, and before that article hit, we had submissions, but they weren't exactly related to innovation. So the very first one we had, a soldier was having a problem with the tub overflowing in his barracks room, and he took a picture of it, said, "Here's my thing." And so now that's obviously a problem, needs to be addressed. But there's mechanisms and there's pathways to address, and we sent that soldier on those pathways, and we were getting that kind of thing. And then you talk about and think about reach, informational reach all the time, Ken. That's something that you're sort of a genius on. But that task and purpose surprised me. That article hit, and within 6 days we had more than 30 entries, and they were good. They were really thoughtful entries, and it's grown since then. So
you're talking about the QR code for work order and DPW work order and TrackMac. I'm looking at it right now. These are. This is the stuff I like seeing. I love anything that has to use with a QR code to connect and report the maintenance issues. Is that for instance? Now you were saying something that's resourced in-house. Can you give us a definition of what resourced in-house means?
Yeah, so there are things like if you go to the page 6. Military license transfers. That's something that basically transferring the soldiers' training from AIT to the unit, to the gaining unit. I didn't really understand that. I think a lot of people who looked at this submission didn't really understand that the license that a soldier gets after training on a piece of equipment in AIT doesn't necessarily transfer to the gaining unit. And so, that's something that our Expeditionary Sustainment Command can solve for, here in terms of the units that are affected here.
Right.
So, that's one idea. Costs, basically no money. It seems to be, pretty common sense. So we could solve for that one here. Some of the other ones related to training here on Fort Bragg or on Fort Drum, Fort Stewart, those are things we can implement if they're not data based or technology based. Some of the submissions for the challenge related to training and training areas are tied to technology and the development of apps and things like that. And those will take time to implement if they make it through the full pipeline. But the Innovation Council looks at these every week and looks to things we can make easy wins and sends those up for action. And we talk about this fairly regularly. Like I said, every Monday our innovation touch point. These things are scanned and presented to General Kurilla, and now the innovators present to General Kurilla. So it really is. We are really serious about unlocking the good ideas that are within formations.
What was the catalyst for it? I mean, what was it? I mean, what would you just like decide? This needs to get amplified throughout the Corps. Did it have any? I mean, was General Kurilla? What was his take on it when it first came out? Came about. What was his feeling about it when this started to be a discussion? And to have somebody. I mean, you just said that the individuals have to pitch the story, have to pitch the idea to General Kurilla. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of like intimidating for some? I mean, is that command emphasis there that makes sure, hey, that PFC that may have the widget that wins the war be allowed to speak? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting. So that's interesting. we don't really know yet. You know, we've only done one, and it was a CW2 in 3rd Brigade, 101st in the Brigade Support Battalion. He knows the guy clearly knows his business. This was related to a refrigeration system, a condenser planer refrigeration system. So frankly, like, nobody on this briefing knew as much about this problem as he did. So I mean, what you bring up is a valid question. We don't really know. The guidance from the deputy commander to the division commanders was that we don't want to plow through the division commander, the entire chain of command to get this, but allow the soldier, allow the innovator to present his or her idea to the command so that we can give it life if necessary.
Yeah, I just think that's awesome that you never know. It's that one, you just might have that. You might have PFC Elon Musk in there in the division or in the Corps, or you know what I mean, and he pitches something that there's no, you know what I mean. Some of the stuff I like, the new glider for a new problem set. What's what's that one? It's a multi-domain integrated kinetic engagement glider and javelin assault group. What's up with that? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. That one's a good one. If you go to the presentation on the attachment there on the right, he spelled this. He describes this in pretty good detail. And this is actually a really well-developed slide that he's got here in terms of stating the problem, material solution. This is really a next generation piece of equipment that will. He's focused on integrated air defense defeat, and he defines that pretty well. So, it's that was a good one. We had another one here. I got to find another one. There was a captain in 2nd Brigade of the 82nd who had a really good slide pack that he built with his entire company, input from his entire company about training, training management, things like that. So, we're getting some good ideas. Black powder-based battery charger. Read that one. That one's pretty wild. I mean, you really have to understand the technology even to get your arms around what he's talking about there.
This is I'm impressed. I'm looking at the stuff off to the side because I don't want to. I'll probably post that up later in some of the slideshows and stuff like that. If you don't mind, would it be okay if I do like a show follow up of some of the stuff that we discussed, so that way we,
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
Please do. Yeah, please do. And that's one thing I would just say is, like, the people who you have a voice among the people. You have a voice among the people, and the soldiers that listen to you or follow your different platforms. I would encourage them. I'd take this time to encourage them to go on there and just adjudicate these things. Do these things make sense? How can we add to them? What we were hoping for is kind of, in some ways, a running dialogue around some of these ideas.
Right.
And there are soldiers who understand these ideas, and we're looking for that kind of feedback. So General Ritchie, who's our deputy commander, myself, we go in here and we provide some feedback, but we don't know what we don't know. We understand the system and the way to get things through, the POM cycle, things of that nature. But what we don't know is the specifics of how these things manifest at the company level, the battalion level, the squad level, and that's the kind of feedback we're hoping to get.
So you asked about you get that feedback. Now are you getting it? You're getting it from the bottom, or are you going to be getting it from the top? I mean, has FORSCOM and higher have they looked at this and said, hey, you know what, this is a good thing, we're gonna this is something that we're gonna institute across the Army?
We haven't. So I would say that
or does General Corella have to pitch that idea to FORSCOM?
I would say, Ken, that politics is politics anywhere you go.
I hear you. I hear you. I'm just asking.
I'll do my PAO thing and sidestep your question and say that, everybody in the Army that's read that Task and Purpose article appreciated what we're doing, at least to me.
Right.
At least to me. So, we've gotten a lot of good feedback across the Army. The Army does talk about innovation and developing a culture of innovation, and here we really mean it. There's two other things we have in the pipeline that we're not fully ready to talk about yet, but
of course,
this Dragon's Lair program that we really do hope we get we rally a lot of eyes on, a lot of folks looking at. That is going to lead into two other programs that we're doing at the end of this calendar year and into 2021. When we talk about a culture of innovation, we do mean it. And we're not talking about technology and the latest technology, latest equipment. We're talking about innovating ideas. There's thoughtful ways to prepare for PT. There's thoughtful ways to organize for tank gunnery that we haven't thought of, that are within our formations that soldiers have. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here. We're trying to accomplish with this and with the innovation program and with the Dragon's Lair and with these two AI-related programs that I know you're going to be very excited about when you see them at the end of this year.
I can't wait. I so can't wait. Hey, Joe, I know you got to get going because you're in the middle of warfighter prep / in doing warfighter. I know there were several Twitter personalities that were saying that was not fair, that you got an interview before the warfighter when you're supposed to be warfighting. So,
I didn't see that.
Oh no, they sent me a message. They're like, hey, how come Joe's gonna go on WTF Nation Radio, and doesn't he have a warfighter to do? I gotta get some sleep. So, so anyways. But hey, thank you so much for coming on. And of course, you can all more than welcome come back anytime to discuss, the results of this. And of course, anything that happens in the future, man.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And thanks so much for having me. Appreciate everything you do, your team does, and much respect for you, Ken. You know that.
Of course, man. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take a break right quick while I send Joe off. And this is Colonel Joe Buccino again with the 18th Airborne Corps to discuss the 18th Airborne Corps' Innovation Challenge. So everyone go ahead and take a break and refill your glasses, and then I'll see you in a sec, so stand by.
Wear a condom? We're in Fayetteville. No one gets STDs here.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we're back with the last part of the Monday edition. Thank you, Colonel Joe Buccino, 18th Airborne Corps, for shooting the breeze about the 18th Airborne Corps Innovation Challenge. We'll keep it posted, and like I said, we'll throw up some of the ideas that they're doing, which some of them I'm looking at it right now, and they're pretty cool. This is our Army.
I like that. The idea that, hey, you remember sitting around with a bunch of jackasses, everyone's saying, I have a great idea. I wish the Army would do this, that, and the other.
Right.
Now's your chance to actually put up or shut up. Like, if you're in 18 Airborne Corps, this is like a great opportunity for that great idea you have, or, you hear it from lieutenants and captains all the time. We definitely hear from Joes going, I would do this to make this better or to streamline this. Here's an opportunity for you. And, it's pretty cool that, that 18 Airborne Corps is actually, it's, it was a put up or shut up moment for them. And they put up, they said, here's the site. Here's where you go. There's even rewards and shit if you come up with a great idea that they like. Like, I like that idea. And the fact that you have potentially the chance to be a part of the, being a change champion for your idea is pretty cool.
Not only that, but you get to pitch your idea to the boss. Like, you have an opportunity. And you know how individuals are with ideas that are actually passionate. I mean, of course, I was just messing with them, asking about a question about the, just asking, hey, does everybody support this, or the leaders support it up and down? But when you have somebody, me and you have talked about ideas that we've had at work, and you get passionate. You really don't. I don't even think rank means anything, because you're that passionate. I don't think you'd be afraid to tell 3-star, hey, this is what I got going on. Here's how you do it. And then the 3-star would help you. In a way, it's almost like he's helping you, guide you along. Okay, so what would you do then? And how would you do this? And then if it's your idea and you're think about it. You're part of the innovative team to get it set up. That's a win, dude. I mean, aside from shut up, private, instead of getting that, there's most.
When you're kind of like mentioning an idea, when you have like stars coming by and they're shaking hands. Where are you from? And you go, hey sir, I have this idea for this. And oh, that's a good idea. And then they walk to the next person, and that's the last you hear from them. This is an opportunity where this is where eyes are on you.
Right.
Here's your chance. Here's your shot to make a substantial mark in the military and how we do things, because there's always ways to improve how we do things. There's always way. Our Army is if our Army thinks that we're perfect, we're in trouble, because it's just like I tell people, like I'm always learning at my job and the stuff I do. And if there's ever a time where I think I know it all and I got it down pat, it's when I need to give up, because kind of like pack it in, because I've lost it. And I think that this is a great opportunity for people to put up and say, hey, sir, while I have you here, let me tell you, this is the issue. I think this is how we fix it, because it might not even be the perfect answer, but it might be a 70% answer that other minds can go, hey, I like that, but what if we did this? And shazam, you've made a groundbreaking, hopefully not like an ACFT type of change, and you're doing good for the better of the Army. Rock on.
Yeah,
it's good at 18 Airborne Corps, and then I like that we showed the website, and we got that new tech going on.
Yeah, we got that. We can show. We
got that good tech.
We got some good tech to show everybody that it exists, and not just. because some people like to talk about a website and they just talk about a website. I want to see, I want the website to be up so I can see what's up. But that's just the best way to do it. So again, thanks Colonel Joe Buccino for coming on, 18th Airborne Corps Public Affairs Officer. They're about ready to they're doing Warfighter and stuff right now, so they're busy. So anyways, it's time for freaking sports page, man. Because normally we'd be finishing an interview or coming back or just starting. So right now you got to take off for a little bit. Let's knock out the sports page, man.
All right, so welcome to the sports page. A lot of stuff going on. This is we have the baseball playoffs. We've got the NBA finals, and we're in week 4 of the NFL football season. And then we also had a conclusion for the National Hockey League. So first, I got the NBA schedule up. We're going to talk NBA. Lakers and Heat. Dun, dun, dun. It's the final 2 teams for the NBA Finals.
Go Lakers.
The Lakers who – say what?
Go Lakers.
Go Lakers.
Yeah.
Lakers who were 52-19 against the Heat that went 44-29. So both good teams. Lakers took the first 2 games. And I didn't get to watch the first 2 games, which made me a little upset because I love sports. I mean that's my thing. I love sports. I don't even care what sport it's on. I've watched cricket before. It's fucking confusing as shit. I've watched competitive cornhole just because it was on. And I was like,
competitive cornhole. There's such thing as competitive.
ESPN2.
Okay.
It was on ESPN2, and it was. And I tell you what, these guys were good. Like they're barely looking at it, toss in. I'm like, man, I have enough trouble just getting it, keeping it on the board. And they're just flick of the wrist. So NBA's is going on, but Lakers decisively taking first 2 games. It was looking like it was about to be it was going to be kind of a bad series because the Lakers are just going to come in there and take over. I mean, man, it's the last time. It would be poetic though, the Lakers winning this, considering that Kobe Bryant passed away earlier this year. It's one of the many key factors that make 2020 such a shit shit year.
That's what kicked it off, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember, Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and about 13 other people in a helicopter went down in California. Unfortunately, all those in the aircraft perished, including Kobe Bryant himself. So it would be kind of poetic to see the Lakers, with the new crowd of stars, including LeBron James, and honor the memory of Kobe Bryant with a win. That'd be pretty cool. But the Heat has something to say about it in Game 3. Jimmy Butler, the strong forward for the Heat, came up with a 40-point game, like just a monster stat line. I think he was just short of a triple double, which means that 3 categories he got: scoring, rebounds, and assists. He got double digits in each one of those. But Jimmy Butler's like, it's not going to end. But so far, Jimmy Butler's averaging about 19, almost about 20 points per game. He's got about almost 7 rebounds per game. And honestly, he's a stud for the Heat, and he's keeping them alive. LeBron James, though, as much as sometimes I think he's a crybaby on the court, is king. With he averages about 25 points per game. Almost 8 rebounds and about 10.2 assists per game. So I mean, he's killing it. So the game was tomorrow. Tomorrow at 8:00 they play in Lake Buena Vista, Florida. I do at the ESPN Wild World of Sports Complex. I do want to commend the NBA because they've had little to no COVID issues since restarting the league after the league was going, and then COVID hit and everyone was put on stop, and they brought them in the bubble. Yeah. That's right. The ESPN Wild World of Sports in Florida, and they've done an amazing job because I think little to no one has come down with COVID symptoms. Neither the players or the coaches or any of the staff. It has been kind of weird. Like honestly, if you watch any of these any sports event, it's been weird not seeing anyone in the stands or very few people, and then you're hearing crowd noises, but it's like animatronic or it's coming from like a game. It's the weirdest thing. So right now, Lakers lead the series 2-1, and we'll see what Game 4 has in store for us. This is the best of 7. I don't think the Heat have enough to go to take this down in 7 games. I think the Lakers take this in 6, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think so too. That's a good round. No, in 6 is a good number.
No, I think the Heat's gonna. I think the Heat can. I think the Heat are gonna keep putting up a fight, but it's just not. It's not enough. And I feel bad because not feel bad. I mean, I'd like the Heat to win. I think the Heat are a pretty awesome team, but. Moving on to the one of the lesser known sports, I guess not lesser known, but lesser recognized sports, which is actually a lot of fun. Hockey. The National Hockey League concluded its long up and down season with a victor. One on top, the Dallas Stars went down to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
That's right.
Tampa Bay Lightning winning the series 4-2.
That's
with
right.
The last game they with a shutout. Tell you what, that goalie for Tampa Bay is just on point. Like there was some really. I watched most of that game. There were some really good shots that he was just able to just snag and take a hold of, just demoralizing the Dallas Stars, who played really well. Little known fact: Dallas Stars weren't, only became the Dallas Stars in '96 or whatnot. I was watching. Weirdly enough, I was watching the Mighty Ducks because it was on Disney Plus. And it was like the Minnesota Stars or something else. And I was like, Minnesota Stars. And then I saw that right after the movie release, they went down to Dallas. I was like, fun. There's a fun fact for you.
Okay.
Hey, it was a random thing. I was babysitting the kids and we're watching, going to watch movies. I'm like, I can't watch Moana one more time or Frozen 2. I don't care. Let It Go or whatever the new song is. I can't. So I was looking through old Disney movies the Mighty Ducks, let's do this. And I just thought it was it was so interesting that I actually stopped the movie to look it up and go, hey honey, which then she said, who cares? But anyways, Tampa Bay Lightning take the series 4-2 and are your Stanley Cup champions, and good for them. It was such a weird,
it was fast.
I know these. I know these guys get paid millions of dollars to play a game, but I got to give it out to the players who, especially especially NBA and NHL and baseball, who were all getting either started or in the middle of the season, and then just the strangest thing to happen to our country, in our modern society with this pandemic, just shut it down. And to be able to, to keep in their good, peak physical condition, and to go out there and to keep playing, even though there's no crowd. I mean, I remember playing, high school football, and I remember how much the crowd, even then, just pumps you up. I can't imagine being on the field for, a Atlanta Braves game or the Atlanta Falcons and Green Bay Packers game or something like that, and just hearing that crowd roar. And every time you score a touchdown, shit like that, I can't imagine what it's like to miss that. And they're trying to do their best by pumping in different sounds. I know for baseball, there's some play they put up cutouts and put them in the stands. They did that for football with the Tampa Bay Denver game. They pump in sound from Madden 2020 or MLB The Show for baseball. I can't imagine how different a mindset these players have had. So I give them props for that. But looking at, I give them props for that. But damn, currently right now we've got it wasn't a great moment for the NFL with the Tennessee Titans actually having 5 players, 2 players and 3 staff test positive for COVID. So that game was.
You got the COVID. You got the COVID. You got the. Sorry.
So the Titans and Steelers game that was supposed to be played on Sunday, that ended up being there. So that's they're kind of switching around. That'll take up their bye week, and then they will. I guess they'll play during that normal bye week or something. So I don't think they have the same bye week, which can be a little bit difficult. But either which way, Titans and Steelers didn't play. I know it messed up a lot of people in their fantasy football. Sucks to be you. And then also some games were moved. So the Patriots and Chiefs games was actually moved from, we thought that was going to get canceled on Sunday, was actually moved to today, which, was one of the doubleheader for the Monday Night Football. And we'll talk about that since it's, it just ended. Chiefs beat the Patriots 26-10. Patrick Mahomes, 2 touchdowns, 236 yards. Just looked great. Used his legs a bit. They had, what do you call it? But, it's weird enough. While Mahomes did most of the damage for the offense, it was the Patriots that took a lot of the big categories for receiving with Demir Bird, 5 catches for 80 yards. Damian Harris, who had 17 carries and 100 yards. But it just wasn't enough. Chiefs won 26-10. I mean, Cam Newton, who didn't, I think Cam Newton also, I heard, had COVID symptoms. And
he's got the Rona too.
And got sent home. So he had string up. They only scored. They scored 3 in the second quarter, and they were able to get a touchdown through in the fourth. But I mean, it's the Chiefs. Chiefs go 4-0. Patriots 2-2. Hopefully, Cam Newton come back because the Patriots were doing pretty good.
Am I going to say? I'm going to ask this question here, and I know this is going to get a lot of Chiefs fans upset. Are we having a Brady moment with him right now? Like everyone's is he getting overrated? Is he overrated as a player right now, or is he really that good? If you're looking at his stats, is he really getting? I mean,
I'm going to say on Brady, and I'll switch over to that game too.
Okay, I was about to say that's exactly what I was leading into.
Mahomes is the real deal. We saw him in the Super Bowl. We saw him all that season and the season before. He's got a lot of skills. He's got a great eye. He's got great vision as a quarterback. He's great at looking off from looking off the defensive backs. That means for your non-NFL players, Daniel Jones for the Giants is horrible at this. He literally will stare at a quarterback, at a wide receiver, and that's the guy he's throwing to. So the linebacker or defensive back, no, that's the guy, and they jump on it. That's why he's got a high interception rate. Patrick Mahomes doesn't. He's got great vision. He knows what the routes are, and he just snaps and throws. And he's got good legs on him. I mean, this isn't the day where the quarterbacks only just sat in the pocket. Now there's more mobile quarterbacks, and Patrick Mahomes is one of those. I don't think he's overhyped. I think he's at the right level, and as long as he continues to win games and win games decisively, it's not like they're winning nail biters or 6-3, but like 26-10. Like they move down the field. Patriots do have a good defense, so they held them just to 6 points in the first quarter. It was that fourth quarter that really got to him. So I think Patrick Mahomes is the real deal. But talk about eating crow, and I might have to say I think I'm maybe eating crow because Tom Brady is not dead. Tom Brady is still alive and kicking because he threw 5 touchdowns yesterday for the the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to beat the Chargers 38-31. It was more of a Buccaneers defense. They scored 5 touchdowns, 369 yards. He went 30 for 46 passes. I mean, damn.
Right. I was just curious because I was just wondering that it almost seemed like everyone was just like, oh, Mahomes. And I'm thinking, guys, he won. No, I'm not taking away the fact that he won a Super Bowl. I'm just taking just that they really. I mean, he's young at the moment. I would say the real deal.
You're right. It'll be interesting to see what Patrick Mahomes and the same thing with Lamar Jackson.
Oh, that was
what they'll be like
exactly
in 5 years from now.
Exactly. That was my point. Jackson, I think he's fucking good too.
I think if you put I would have said Lamar. I think if you put Patrick Mahomes in a different system, I think he's got the versatility with his legs to still to run out the pocket to get that first down when there's just nothing open instead of forcing it and just staying in there for the sack. He's not going to pull like Eli Manning used to and just stand there and just get sacked because
Eli Manning is that's anyways.
Tom Brady, at 38-31. It's 5 touchdown throws.
Yeah.
Interesting thing about that game, Mike Evans for Tampa Bay left the first quarter after sustaining a high ankle injury. I had him on my fantasy team, so I was so glad he came back because he did. He was able to rack in 122 yards and a touchdown, and with 7 catches. And Ronald Jones for Tampa Bay also 111 yards for 20 touches. I mean, it was all around good game. The Buccaneers, I mean, the Chargers now go 1-3, Buccaneers 3-1. I mean, Buccaneers at home are solid 2-0, but it shouldn't have been that close to the Chargers. So hopefully they tune something up with that defense. Now looking at today's, so there is another Monday night game. The Atlanta Falcons are at the Packers right now. It's 13-3 with the Packers leading the charge. Falcons, weirdly enough, 0-3. Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan has lost that juice. I think, honestly,
and they're only in this
the year he retires.
And then they're only in the second quarter right now too.
Yeah, I mean, they'll see what happens. Aaron Rodgers threw a nice little short pass in the middle of the field, was able to score the first touchdown. They scored 6 points in the second quarter. Falcons they can't get one. Their defense just isn't there, but they can't score points. They used to be able to make up for their defense. They used to make up for their shortfalls, and just for some reason this isn't even though they brought in Tom Gurley, who formerly was with the Rams, formerly with the Georgia Bulldogs. That's not even helping. They can't really get anything going in the running game. So we got about a minute and a half in the second quarter for halftime. 13-3 Packers. We'll keep an eye on that. Some other games on Thursday night. This is an interesting one. The the 0-3 Broncos faced the 0-3 Jets. It was like, man, I can't say much because the Giants are 0-3 too. But I mean, it's like, damn, 2 0-3 teams. Well, they didn't play like 0-3 teams, but the Broncos ended up coming with the victory, 37-28. So they scored a lot of points on each other. Melvin Gordon, the third for Denver, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns, 23 touches. Denver's quarterback, guy named Brett Rapin, 2 touchdowns, 242 yards, played pretty well. And Tim Patrick for Denver also brought in 113 yards and 1 touchdown. It was a pretty good game. So the Broncos go 1-3 and the Jets go 0-4. Speaking of more 0-4 teams, the Giants with a dismal loss to the Rams, 17
to the Rams, dude, to the Rams.
Well, the Rams are playing. They're 3-1 now. They had their loss came against the Bills last week. Who they were losing like 23 points by the half and came back and just barely. The Rams last week, they took a timeout in the fourth, late in the fourth quarter that they just shouldn't have, and it pretty much cost them because they didn't just have enough time to go down the field. But the Giants, they kept it close. Rams only scored a touchdown in the first quarter. It ended up being 10-6, but then a late touchdown by Jared Goff, only threw 200 yards, 1 touchdown. But the Giants were close enough. They just needed a touchdown and 2-point conversion. But on the 3-yard line, like I said, Daniel Jones has this problem where he just stares locks eyes with that wide receiver. And the defensive back was able to jump in for interception to pretty much end the game. Fun fact about that game, there was a big old fight between Golden Tate and the Rams. Ramsey, who's a cornerback. They had been going back and forth throughout the game. There was a lot of heated exchanges. It got quite physical, but then it became a big brawl at the end of the game, which didn't end well. I think some players will end up getting suspended, but I haven't heard too much from that yet. Wayne Gallman actually broke for his biggest for the Giants. Actually broke for his longest career and season run for 20-something yards today, which is pretty cool. Go for him. And then Cooper Kupp, 1 touchdown, 69 yards. Moving on, Bengals, the Jaguars at Bengals. That was a really good game. Gardner Minshew, I picked him up on my fantasy team because I thought he'd be a good, he's having some good games. Didn't do too bad. He threw 351 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Joe Mixon with, for Cincinnati, ran for 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. But the Bengals just, the Bengals are now 1-2-1 because they had that tie with the Eagles, and just ended up on top against the Jaguars, who now go 1-3. A lot of people think that Gardner Minshew is on a short lease and that the Jaguars might be looking to either or pretty much make some trades in the offseason for some draft picks to move up with the quarterback class is actually not so bad at all. And with that, right now the Jets apparently are like the closest ones to having the number 1 pick. Well, there's a quarterback out in Clemson who I think is a junior in place is phenomenal. You might remember him with the long blonde hair thing. He reminds me of Sunshine from Remember the Titans.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot the kid's name.
He's got skills. Like this man, he's got some serious skills.
I didn't know he was from Clemson though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's quite a player. A lot of people thought he was going to commit to the draft last year. He decided to come back for his junior year, which is probably a smart move. Even though the college season's kind of wonky right now with everything going on. But there's actually talks where I forget the person, but they gave I think it was a former NFL player who gave the advice to this quarterback saying if the Jets get the number one pick, stay at Clemson for another year. And to me, that's like I felt like that's kind of one that like morally that's kind of shitty. Like, man, let the man make his decisions. But on the other hand, it's like, is that meddling? Like, is that like? But it's football, so you can give advice to somebody. Say, hey, maybe don't go to the Jets if they get picked up. Hell, Eli Manning, Brett Roethlisberger, Phil Rivers, when they were in that draft class, Eli Manning said, "I don't want to go to the Chargers. If they call my name, I'm just going to be pissy. I don't want to go to the Chargers." And then lo and behold, they ended up switching quarterbacks. Phil Rivers going to the Chargers and Eli Manning going to the Giants, and then Eli Manning go on to win 2 Super Bowls. Rock on. Moving on. This was a game that pissed off a lot of people, mainly if you live in Texas, mainly if you're a Cowgirls fan.
I was about to say,
if you dress up like an Ewok and say "feed me" with a big bowl of cereal or whatnot, and feed the Zeke. Well, this wasn't a day for you. The Cleveland Browns. Who the fuck are the Cleveland Browns? Because they are now 3-1 after walloping on the Cowboys.
No, they didn't wallop them. It was a good
39-38. It was a wallop. It was a wallop up until the last quarter when the Cowboys came back and scored 24 points.
Right.
Before that, they scored 7 in the first quarter, 24 in the second, and 10 in the third.
Right.
Cowboys were able to score 14 points in the first quarter.
Yeah, so
came back in the fourth quarter, and I mean, Dak Prescott. I'm not hating on the Cowboys. I'm not hating on him specifically. I'm going to hate on all the Cowboys. But Dak Prescott did everything he possibly could, throwing up 502 yards. He's thrown over 1,000 yards between 2 games. He's got 4 touchdowns. He threw 4 touchdowns. I mean, it was a pass-happy day. 58 attempts, 41 of those attempts were good. I mean, he did everything he could for that team. But it's one of those things. The defense has got to do something. You can't, if you're playing a scoring game, eventually you're gonna lose out, and they did. Browns going up 49 points. But are the Browns legit? I don't know. But the Browns seem legit. I mean, this is what I was telling. I think it was before last year's season where I said the Browns have enough first place draft picks that they can actually turn this team into they had 4 or 5 first round and another 3 second round draft picks 2 years ago, and they finally have all these pieces coming together. They even had OBJ running a wing spread reverse for a big 50-yard touchdown. It was, I mean, he got a running touchdown. What shit happens with OBJ? But whatever. Dak Prescott, threw just 502 yards. It was amazing. Ernest Johnson for Cleveland brought it. Is the lead rusher for 95 yards, and then Amari Cooper for Dallas, 1 touchdown, 134 yards. But damn, Cowboy fans were pissed. Just himself. Man, I feel bad if you're a Cowboys fan.
I'll be honest with you. I paid it.
If you're an NFC East fan, because your top team is Dallas with 1-3, or is the Eagles who are 1-2-1 or something that. In which we'll head over there. But I mean, the Giants are 0-4. The Redskins, I think, are. Let's see, where are the Redskins now? The Redskins are 1-3. Eagles are 1-2-1. This NFC East just looks like shit. Next up, we had the Saints and Lions. This was a really good game. Drew Brees, they lost 2 in a row. They were doing everything they could to avoid that 3-0, that going out 3-0. or 0-3. 2 touchdowns, 246 yards. Alvin Kamara, kind of subdued in this game compared to other ones. 1 touchdown, 83 yards carrying. And then Emmanuel Sanders, 93 yards. It was a close one, 35-29. The Lions go down. Lions now drop to 1-3, 0-2 at home right now. But the Saints, 2-2, season still alive and looking good in a very competitive division. Seattle Seahawks took a trip down to Miami to visit the Dolphins and left with a big surprise. That is a 4-0 record. Seahawks on the back of Russell Wilson and another very talented quarterback, that hybrid quarterback of both a strong arm but a mobile quarterback to get out of issues. Bam. Throws up 2 touchdowns, 360 yards. Devontae Parker, 10 catches for 110 yards. And then Chris Carson, 16 carries, 2 touchdowns and 80 yards. It was a great, he's continued to stay hot, and he's another one of those people that he didn't have the greatest season last year, but he's really stepped it up. Seahawks are now 4-0, 2-0 away, and the Dolphins fall to 1-3 in a division they thought they'd feel a lot better considering that Tom Brady's out of New England. So we had the Battle of the Beltway that happened that went down at one of the first games at 1:00. The Baltimore Ravens versus the Washington Redskins. Usually this is an entertaining game that you want to watch. This one wasn't. Everyone knew the Ravens were going to come in there and kick ass, and they did. Here's a weird stat line for you. Now, the top performer for passing goes to Dwayne Haskins, the quarterback for Washington, who was picked up last year. Threw for 314 yards, just could not throw for a touchdown. But Lamar Jackson, the quarterback, not running back, the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, with 7 carries for 53 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he was on point. Like, there was one time where he was running straight down the field and he almost got clipped on the 2-yard line. Luckily, he pulled the ball back before he made a big mistake, scored that touchdown. Ravens win 31-17. Really was, it was semi-competitive, but just the Ravens are just too much. Both defense and offense, too much for the Washington team. The Washington team. Still can't believe I'm saying that. The Washington team. So Ravens go up 3-1, thanks to Lamar Jackson just being like all around awesome, carrying that team. And then the Washington team 1-3. Lord, Panthers and Cardinals. Now Kyle Murray, I like him, but just it's a situation of a great player on a not great team. Cardinals fall to 2-2, thanks to the Panthers. Panthers beating them by 10 points, 31-21. Panthers are now 2-2 as well. Teddy Bridgewater, who came in, 2 touchdowns, 276 yards. Mike Davis for Carolina because McCaffrey is out for, I don't believe for the whole season. I think he's just out for a couple of weeks. 84 yards and 1 touchdown. It was a good game, but it was one of those games everyone kind of passed over. It was like, I don't want to watch that one. There's another one. But tell you what, then this next one is a game that if I would have told you their record, you wouldn't believe me, because it's the Vikings, the Texans. Both these teams were playoff contenders last year. Both these teams were raring and ready to go. Both these teams suck ass. Vikings, both teams had a winless record, but guess what? Only one team left with the winless records. That was the Houston Texans. They put up 23 points, but defense didn't hold it down. Vikings go 1-3 with a score of 31-23, and they look good. Deshaun Watson. He played 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Adam Thielen, 114 yards receiving, 1 touchdown. It's hard to defend that man. He's small and fast, and he just gets around defensive backs and zone coverages like nobody's business. We're getting close to the end, thank God. And I want to talk about baseball. Like that's
yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and talk about baseball, because the next stat you're going to hit are the Bills and the Raiders, and I want to hear it. So, anyways, next, go ahead and hit baseball.
All right, so Colts beat the Bears. Bears fall 3-1. Colts go to 3-1. Colts, with the score of 19-11, 19 and 2-11, not 19-11. The old heads with those old pistols. Nick Foles, kind of showing that he could take over. 249, 1 touchdown. Jonathan Taylor for Indianapolis, 60 yards on 17 carries, and Allen Robinson, 101 yards, 1 touchdown, 7 receiving. Bills and Raiders. I hope you're not a Raiders fan, but the Bills Another team. Are they legit? They seem to be acting that way. Beating the Raiders 30-23. Bills go 4-0, and the Raiders 2-2. Isn't that weird to say? The Cleveland Browns and the Buffalo Bills both have winning records.
Yeah.
Just take that in. Just winning records. The Bills 4-0.
We just literally just talked about not talking about. I'm going to cut your mic because you said you weren't going to talk about the Raiders and you did anyways. But go ahead. Sorry. Continue.
For the Las Vegas Raiders.
That's right.
311 touchdowns. I mean, they did the best they could. But Stephon Diggs bringing in 115 yards receiving, and then Devin Singletary with 55 yards and 18 carries. I mean, Josh Allen, just you kind of putting the moves on there, and it's working. And then finally, the Eagles against 49ers. I did watch this game. This was a weird game. Like, it was up until like the last quarter. It was kind of boring. Like, first quarter, Eagles scored 8 points and 49ers 7. I was like, all right, cool. Because the Eagles decided to go to a 2-point conversion for no reason, but they did anyways. Eagles take this 25-20. Eagles go to 1-2-1, fucking ties. And then the 49ers go to 2-2. Remember, the 49ers are also missing a lot of key players like Garoppolo, and then tons of others are just out from different injuries. Some 2 out for the season, others for like 2 to 3 weeks. But George Kittle is still trying to hold it down. Almost received 200 yards. He ended up with 183 on 15 catches and 1 touchdown. Damn, that's really good for a wide receiver. And then going back to the taking a check-in for the Packers-Falcons game. Packers, man, they look like they're making a statement with this one. They want to go 4-0, and they want to go 4-0 bad. Right now they got 20 points up. Falcons, only 3 in halftime. Falcons potentially can go 0-4, and the Packers can go 4-0. Dun, dun, dun. It's baseball time. Yes, I don't care. I've been excited for baseball. This playoff format's been a little weird, and it was extremely stressful because it's a 3-game series. 3-game series, that's nothing. That 3-game series is 3-game series hurts my feelings. But, it was actually pretty entertaining. So we'll start in the National League. Nope, go back there. There we go. Got to go back in time for this to make sure I got all the other scores because it's not showing me the other scores. Go back. Got the Marlins.
Yeah, the Dodgers. What was up with the Dodgers? You were saying something about the Dodgers. I'm sorry.
I just whooped ass. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I guess we'll start. So, starting with the American League, the Astros just, I guess they got tired of getting picked on all season for their cheating ways, but they were able to dismantle the Twins. The Twins came in with a better record, 36-24 for the Astros, 29-31, but it was the Astros that ended up taking Game 1 and Game 2, and looking like they got some thunder on them, like looking kind of good. So we'll see what happens. They'll play the Athletics, who beat the White Sox. White Sox were able to take Game 1. The Athletics were able to take Game 2 and 3 to end the series. Tampa Bay Rays decisively over the Blue Jays, and the New York Yankees played the Indians and were able to sweep the series. With the last game, Game 2 was a nail biter. Yankees won 10-9. Whew, that one was scary. Braves were able to take on the Reds. The first game they went like 13 innings. Is that right? 13 innings?
Yeah, they did.
13 innings. 1 run.
God.
One fucking. Because see, in the regular season, they when you get the extra innings, they put a player on second base just so they can get those games running because they're trying to get these people off the field. Playoffs, it's regular. It's game as usual. So 13 innings. It was nail biters. At one point the Reds had bases loaded. At one point the Braves had bases loaded. Nobody was able to get it across. Finally the Braves did, and then decisively they were able to win the next day. Marlins against the Cubs. Well, guess what? Bye-bye Cubs fans because Marlins won. Hold on. Let's move on the schedule. Do-do-do. Here we go. Into today. So we had a couple of games. We got 2 games going on today. They start off with the American League. So like I said, the Athletics were able to move on and they're facing the Houston Astros for a 5-game set. Well, they're going to have to make up some ground because the Houston Astros just put on a hit parade. Hey, and they didn't even play at home, so we can't even blame it on the trash cans and shit. Like, they actually decided they wanted to play, but they were able to beat the Athletics 10-5. Currently, right now, we got the Tampa Bay Rays playing the New York Yankees. Yankees up right now 4-3 in the bottom of the 7th. Shazam! And then tomorrow, oh no, too late. Tuesday. Tomorrow we got the Marlins versus the Braves. That'll be a good game. Marlins are playing right now how they did it, everything, because they're trying to make another bubble, kind of like they've done for basketball and baseball, which is kind of almost late to the party, but whatever. So they have a stadium, and I think it's in Texas, and a stadium in San Diego that they're having the teams play at. That way, everything's contained. It is weird seeing that I have playoff games and there's cutouts of everybody. But hey, you got to do what you got to do, I guess. Houston Astros again will play the Athletics, and the Padres will play the Dodgers. Now, the Padres have been chomping. I'm looking out of all the series besides the Yankees playing, which I'm very excited about. The series out of all these that are coming up that I am most excited about is the Padres and Dodgers.
Yep,
Padres
that's a classic lineup. That's a classic.
Dodgers every step of the way. Dodgers got off to a hot start and stayed hot, winning 43, only losing 17. Padres very close in second, 37 wins and 23 losses. Padres are out for blood. Like, I won't say it's not a David and Goliath situation because it's like two Goliaths going at it. Just one might be slightly bigger. This is going to be one of those games that is, this is going to be one of those series that potentially could be, historic and shit like that. Besides, if the Yankees game is done, I'm definitely watching the Dodgers and Padres. Astros and Athletic, I don't think the Oakland Athletics are going to, take this line down. I think, they got the shit out of this, but I do believe the Oakland Athletics have a better rotation even after after your ace who usually pitches the first game. So we'll see what happens with the Astros. But the Astros are a good playoff team. They've always been a good playoff team. Maybe partly because they cheated. Who knows? But they've been even away. They've still been a good playoff team.
That dig, man. They're never going to live that dig down, man.
This is they got off easy that there's no fans to heckle them. This is
That's true.
The best that happened to them was COVID coming into this country because they were already getting heckled. They were getting heckled so much they had to take fans out of the stadium because they were heckling the Astros too much, and they were hurting their little feelings. But so they'll take on the Oakland Athletics. That'll be a close one. I could see that going all the way to Game 5. My hope is the Athletics take that because I think I'd rather the Yankees play the Athletics than the Astros. But hey, we'll see what happens. Yankees and Rays. You already know I'm biased. I'm going to say the Yankees.
Of course, you're going to say Yankees.
But the Rays are coming in with the second best record, 40 wins and 20 losses, opposed to the Yankees 33 and 27. Right now, yes, the Yankees are up by 1, but it takes a swing of the bat, and the Rays have a really good, have a deadly lineup as well. But both starting pitchers were got at. Garrett Cole gave up 3, one off a 2-run home run, and then a solo home run. And the Yankees were able to pull in 4, mostly off the home run, 1 off of a sacrifice fly into right field. And then, the next one, which will be good because the Marlins scrapped their way in. And remember, the Marlins actually had to beat the Yankees during the regular season in order to actually punch their ticket for the playoffs. I think they were like the last seed, they were the second to last seed because they didn't have to play the Dodgers. But they were able to get by the Cubs, and Cubs fans everywhere started crying and bawling and crying. But they were able to get by the Cubs to face the Atlanta Braves, who are looking to get back into their winning ways, at least decisively winning ways. I think that going 13 innings and depleting their pitching staff kind of hurt them a little. So we'll see what happens when it comes into this 5-game series because these games rack up. Everyone gets tired. You have people who you can't really do what you used to and call up people from your minor leagues or I guess the minor league pool that they had and you can't just send people up and down to rest and stuff like that. Like you have to be very clinical of how you rest people and how you use people because if you use your reliever two games in a row and then you're trying to get him for the third game, he might give up a big home run or you just won't have him available. So all these teams have to feel because COVID has made, the injuries have been kind of so, nothing too crazy. There was a lot of injuries at the beginning of the season, but it always happens coming out of spring training, or I guess summer training for this year. So there haven't been too many injuries. A lot of these teams are coming in whole, which is actually really good to see. The problem is, fatigue will hit up, and I just don't think they have, all these teams have that stamina like they usually would at the end of a season, because they, it's been such a, there's been a lot of double headers. A lot of teams have had missing games. How the St. Louis Cardinals had like a week of missing games, and they literally had to do double header, like a double header every other day to catch up. So it's been kind of tough. So this will be an interesting season, playoff season. We're just gonna have to see what happens. So right now the Yankees will play the Rays on TBS. I think the Marlins and Braves are also on TBS, so they better be. I mean, Time Warner broadcast systems, whatnot. And then I think MLB Network and Fox 1 play the Padres, Dodgers, and Astros and Athletics. But check your local listings, and that is the sports page. I'm excited that we're gonna have soon. It's gonna be weird to be down to one sport, and that'll be football.
Yeah, really.
The problem is you have to wait a week. It's not like you can go. Well, I have baseball happening every day, and I have basketball happening every day, and then I have hockey pretty much every day. Now it's soon you're just gonna have football, and you just have to. Everyone's gonna have to salivate over who's going where, who's injured, who's playing who. But hopefully, I'm praying for the folks out in Tennessee. Hopefully, every one of them, all the trainers, the staff, and the players all recover from COVID and can get back on the field or whenever they can. And hopefully this doesn't spread, because it would suck, because, yes, they're getting paid millions of dollars, but this is kind of cool. This is the game they want to play. This is this is something kind of awesome. Yeah, I play football and I could retire, which is kind of awesome. But, a lot of people are very passionate about this game. They eat, sleep, drink, football, and they talk football. Football is their life. And
on the football field, that's right.
And have it, and just like all the sports, to have, basketball taken away and all this other stuff because of a pandemic, which, again, I'm not saying it wasn't a smart thing to do to shut everything down.
Right.
But, it still sucks.
No,
it sucks for everyone. It's their job.
It's kind of funny. It's because I'm already seeing the memes right now that an obese senior citizen that eats only freaking McDonald's and junk food and KFC and taco bowls freaking just beat the Rona. Did he really just beat the Rona? I don't know. We'll find out. I guess we'll find out what the media doctors say about his condition. I just think it's fucking funny. Anyways, so with that, we have a show every night. Except for the weekends and Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, we have a show. Our guest lineup is starting to pack it, man. So today we had Colonel Joe Buccino, 18th Airborne Corps Public Affairs Officer, to discuss about the 18th Airborne Corps Innovation Challenge. And then tomorrow for Pop Culture Warrior, we have Ralph Garman, is an actor-writer known for Ted, Two for the Money and Eagle Eye, and he's going to be on here to shoot the shit with CQ, who also likes to hang out with Kevin Smith from Jay and Silent Bob fame and Comic Book Man. The following Tuesday is going to be Chris Brunetti. Hey, man, he used to come on and hang out with Sergeant's Time. And now he's going to hang out with CQ and do all that pop culture stuff, because now Chris Brunetti is getting more pop cultured, I guess you would say. Chris began his career in TV and film after spending nearly a decade in the member of the U.S. military. He was my soldier back in the day, and he'll be returning guest and make his first appearance to shoot the shit with CQ on Pop Culture Warrior. Now, mark your calendars. The following Tuesday at October 20th will be Louis Anderson. Louis Anderson. What? Yeah, iconic comedian.
That's awesome.
I can't wait to see that one, man.
You ever watch the cartoon that he was the voice of?
Yeah, dude. The cartoon, I saw him when he was in Coming to America. He was the guy who was going to get promoted.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he was. I watched him when he was stand-up when I was growing up. He is the 3-time Emmy Award winner and is one of the country's most recognized and adored comics, named by Comedy Central as one of the 100 greatest stand-up comedians of all time.
And former game show host.
Yeah, his career has has spanned more than 30 years. He is a best-selling author and a star of his own stand-up specials and sitcoms, and he continues to tour the country performing to standing room audiences only. And he's going to be here on the 20th of October. Louis freaking Anderson. I can't wait to have him come on here, shoot the breeze with us. And then for Sergeant's time, we're going to have Command Sergeant Major from the 25th Infantry Division, Billy Peliot's going to come back and shoot the breeze with me and give us an update from his JRTC rotation that we had discussed. Kind of like a little Green Book AAR. We're kind of excited because that's, he'll be back to give us what he did. He did say there were some things that he wanted to air and address to NCOs. Before we go, I want you guys to take a look at the screen right now. And there's a little call for action for a little angel that's up there. 5-month-old Francisca, she needs your help. And she's suffering from the condition, the plagiocephaly, which is a condition that affects the shape of an infant's skull, while including many insurance companies and TRICARE consider it a cosmetic condition. In many cases, including Francesca's, if left untreated, it can permanently change her life, and of course damage her symmetry, balance, and even her eyesight. The cost of the helmet ranges from $3,000 to $4,500 to include custom molds, scans, specialist visits, and etc. And is well beyond the family's financial responsibilities. While Francesca's mother is a veteran, and because of that status, she has no access to resources available to active duty service members to be readjusted. So if you can help, comment under the post for the link that you see on the main page with Francesca, and we avoid putting the main body, of course, because Facebook limits the reach of the post with active links. So the post has been vetted. As a matter of fact, I think the main page is going to do another collection of babies with helmet. That's usually when we get it. That's me and Spanky gig. We'll put that up on Sergeant's time. The little baby helmets, and it's for a good cause. So go in the post, ask for the link. And again, it's for baby Francisca. Anyways, thank you guys and gals again for hanging out with us. Thank you again, Joe Buccino, for shooting the breeze and hanging out with that. You don't have anything for me. Flash don't have anything for you.
Shots to shots.
Shots to the shots, shots to shots. Y'all have a good night.
Shots on shots.
Don't forget to tune in to Pop Culture Warrior tomorrow with Michael Carrasquillo, also known as CQ. So, see ya.
Hey, this is SEAC retired John Wayne Troxel. You're listening to WTF Nation Radio, the station of choice for all of the badass MFers on the planet.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Intergalactic horse, and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. And now They say that they've discovered life up there on Mars. So let's blow it all to hell and then claim it for ours. We'll paint the moon red, white, and blue for no other reason than we wanted to. Oh, Jupiter, imagine what you could become. A stupid, pointless planet turned into a giant gun. And Russia, so sorry, have to burst your bubble. Be a good sport now, sit back, relax, and watch us through the Hubble as we celebrate the greatness of the United Planets of America. Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Now we'll go to infinity and beyond, beyond. You'll hear our manly voices singing Space Force strong. The critics say sound doesn't travel in space, to which we reply sound will do as we say. Oh, Captain Kirk, your achievements, though notable and fine, as far as we're concerned, this is Deep Space Mine. And big fans, but Lord Vader, step away from the lightsaber. There can only be one, of course. Space Force. Ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum, ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Space Force, Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Space Force.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.